everybody, it's Vicki with the Lavinia World Video Design Team, and we are back with part 2 of a 2-part video that I was working on with you all for a special framed piece of art for my grandson that's due at the end of July. And when we left off, I was letting the project dry a little bit because of the ink, the VersaFine Clear, because it was a heavier ink. I wanted to give it a few minutes to dry before we went in and started all of our embellishing. And then while I was doing that, I went ahead, let me show you, I'm going to tip the camera down now. Okay, so I went ahead and I darkened up the edges using my brush. Like I said, I was going to give it more of a dramatic look, almost as if you were looking into the picture. I'm going to try and turn this extra light off a little bit so you can see it. Sorry. Okay, so you can see here down on the bottom I've darkened up the edges all the way around, and I've gone ahead and added the matte on here only because I wanted to know exactly where I had to work with, or the space that I still had to work with. I used a 3-inch circle cutout, and I created the halo that gives us kind of that lighter effect, or a moon or sun, whichever way you want to look at it. Then what I did was I took a little bit of fine mica powder and I went around the edge of that. Normally I would have mixed it with some kind of medium. Let's see if I can get you to see that. If you can see the little bit of sparkle that's in there. Up close and in the light you can see that, but let me see if we do it this way. There we go. See a little bit the sparkle? I would have mixed it, because I wouldn't want it to wipe off on the glass. But because we've got the depth from the 2 layers of the matte, I'm not going to worry about that rubbing off on the glass. So then I took just some basic white craft paint and I just put little dots where I guess it's kind of a vine, but I wanted to lighten that up but keep a whimsical feeling with it, and I feel like the dots did that. And then again I went back in with our navy blue Nuvo drops like I said I would. And I highlighted in the glitter section, and then the little wiggly vines that come down, I've put the blue there, and I've also added just a few of them here. So to finish off this project, now I want to decorate the mat. So I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to flip the camera down and I'll show you how we do that. It's going to be in 2 different colors of ink. We're going to go back to our let me lay this all the way down. There we go. And back up a little bit. So this is the white part of my mat, and it's already glued down. I've already taken care of that. So I'm going to start first with our archival ink in the cornflower, and I'm using the wildflower. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get a nice good amount of ink on this, because I am going to matte, and I'm afraid this might be dry, but let's give it a go. I'm going to put this on the back because I want it to give, there we go, a little bit of a kind of a shadowy effect on the white mat. And I'm going to do a little bit on each side. And I'm going to hold this down because I want to make sure this mat really picks it up. Now, this is the part where we're going to have to be super, super careful because the mat itself is white and I'm messing with blue ink. So we've got one shot at this. Otherwise, I have to take the whole thing apart and start over. And because I've glued it, that's going to be difficult. So the first one took really nicely. And so I'm going to add a few more. And then we're actually going to top this again with our Twilight. So I'm going to go ahead and finish stamping these off real quick. So now you can see I've added the wildflowers down to the bottom, and it just gives it a nice dramatic effect. So now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to add the blue. And this one won't take quite so much, if I can open this without dropping it on my picture. Okay, so this one won't take quite so much because our ink pad is super wet. And I just want to give it a little bit. I'm probably not going to put quite as much of this dark blue on top of the project. I just love the flare it gives it though. This is a fun project that you can do with like old picture frames. You know, as kids and friends and family get older, or they completely change and you start to take down, or even if you redecorate and you have lots of old picture frames, this is a great way to refurbish them with a fun art project, decorating the mats. I've done some where I actually decorate the top, like I showed you with the whimsical wisps and that type of thing. And I've done some with trees, and then going back over it with the Nouveau drops or some craft paint to add a little something to it is so much fun. I'm going to put one more on the edge of this, right there. Alright, so we're actually done with all of our ink. So I'm not going to do anything, but look at that. Isn't that fabulous? So we've got the light on the bottom and the dark on the top. So I love that. So now we've got our Nouveau drops, and I would normally go in and do all of the flowers, but I'm actually just going to do, I'm kind of struggling with the camera tonight. I'm actually just going to do the flowers on the inside here. And I'm going to squeeze just a little. And once you kind of get a rhythm, it's actually pretty quick. You want to make it pretty simple all the way through, so it's kind of uniform in the sizes. I got a dog getting ready to bark. Hang tight. It's not quite as simple doing the kind of a project build that I can't stop and kind of go back and mix the camera up a little bit and change it when I'm working live with you when the dogs decide to act up. So I'm just going in and I'm filling in as many of the flowers as I can, because I want to try to give them all little centers, and it's just a little something extra. But once you start dabbing, you get that evenness. It actually goes pretty quickly. If you have a bigger space and you're not quite sure where to put it, you could even squeeze a little spot on a piece of paper and use a pointer to do it. But I think we've caught all of them. So it's going to be hard for me to show you in the picture what that looks like. So I'm going to bring it up close. But you can see all of those there. And the last thing that I'm going to do is I have just some simple little gems. And I'm only going to add probably, well, let's start. I know I'm going to put one up in the corner here because I want it to stand out. And I will typically embellish in threes or some kind of an odd number. But I really want the focus to be down here by these little dreaming hairs. So I really think I'm just going to stick with 3. I like the way that looks. So I am going to add this to a frame, and we're actually going to be done with this. So I'm going to pause one more time, put it together, and then I'm going to share the project with you. And here it is, all finished. I'm going to dim the light here. We're getting a bit of a reflection. There we go. You're seeing it itself in the camera, but I'm so happy with how this turned out. And it's all finished. So all that's left to do is for me to write a special letter that will be in the back of this picture frame that when he gets older, his mom and dad can share with him about how much he was loved and wanted by his nanny. So this has been a really special project, and I'm glad I got to share it with you all. I'm going to list everything that we used in the description, and if you have any questions, leave us a comment. But don't forget to visit us at laviniaworld.com and join the challenges, and make sure you join our group on Facebook, Anything Lavinia. Have a great day.